Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, I've got a quick tutorial today on how to change a front FG wheel bearing. Yes, I'm having more wheel bearing issues. These are pretty fresh wheel bearings. They're about 6 months old, and one's failed for whatever reason. But so I'll just go through the quick way that I changed my front wheel bearing, and I hope you like the video. Quick update. So yes, the wheels are still happening. I'll probably get into that over the next week or so. Stripping those wheels so I can do the giveaway on those 20-inch Argents, and my sticker merch has come through. So once again, I've just got to set up how you can buy those stickers. I'll get a site set up for that, but in the meantime they have come through. I've got my big banner sticker there, I've got another one up the top there, and I've got the little car stickers for sale for your side or back windows. So that'll all be coming up shortly. And I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, stay safe, and I hope you're all well. Alright guys, got another maintenance one for you today. As I was putting the wheels on and doing my checks yesterday, got another wheel bearing issue. I can't believe it. These front ones are less than 6 months old. I did them at the start of the year. They're aftermarket Repco bearing assemblies, but this one's failed now. This will be a bit harder to see because the rears were really bad, but hopefully the camera will pick it up. It's only slight. There's definitely up and down movement in this wheel. Now there's nothing side to side. So when you're checking this, side to side will usually give you an indication of steering and or suspension, typically steering rack. Unloaded like this will show you wheel bearing typically, and to check the ball joints you really need to have the car loaded and have a bar under the wheel, and I have checked and I don't see, even just putting a bar like this under the wheel, and all I've got there is suspension movement. I can't, so if you cup your hand around the ball joint at the top and you lift, I can't feel anything there. And if you cup the lower one, same procedure. So hopefully you can see this. So all I'm doing is I'm going to put my hand around the lower ball joint and just give it a little wiggle with the bar. And as you can I don't know if you can see, but all I'm seeing is the strut and the arm going up and down. There's no movement in the ball joints. You'll feel, a little click or a little bit of movement as you're loading up. Yeah, no, I believe definitely wheel bearing, and considering they're cheapy aftermarket wheel bearings. So I'll show you again from this view. I don't even know if the mic's picking that up, but if I put it closer, maybe you'll hear a distinct dunk, 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 dunk. Hopefully you can hear that, guys. So we'll get this wheel off and we'll get into whipping the wheel bearing out. Okay, we've got the wheel off. So first thing to do is to take the caliper off. Okay. So you can see I got my socket on there. So we've got two 15 mils, one on the lower, one on the upper. Be careful. God, I'm the worst photographer ever. Be careful of the brake lines here and your ABS line. So the first things I do, undo the caliper, and then we'll get that ABS wheel speed sensor line off. Now these brake caliper bolts can be really tight, especially if your car's never had the caliper off, you got a low-K car and it hasn't had brakes yet. These bastards are absolutely rock solid and they're Loctited on from forward. So make sure you got a nice big bar or something solid to try and undo these with. Now mine aren't too bad because I actually wire brushed all the Loctite off them because I was sick of struggling with it. This one just wants to be a bit of a pain. Get on there. Okay, so it's got to come out of here. Okay, so once you've got them cracked, if you've got, you know, an air tool or a rattle gun, buzz them out. Now don't take them all the way out, unless you're ready for the caliper to fall on your feet or fall and hurt the brake line. So I'm sort of supporting it with my bottom hand here, and I have got cable tie and a hanging utensil of sorts. Okay, now I haven't got any big lips on these discs, so these will whip off pretty easy. Quite out. Okay, so so just support your caliper. I've just got a hook here. Find somewhere to hook it on. Doesn't really matter where, as long as it's supported somehow. Oops. And it's out of your way, more importantly. I just got that hanging off the spring there, so that's out of our face, so we can work at the back there, hopefully. Obviously don't lose your CBL ring if you've got aftermarket wheels. The rotor just slides off. So that's our little hub assembly there. Now, I can't feel anything in this, but oh yeah, you can even feel it without the wheel on, so yeah, she's nuts. Well, that's what I wanted to see and feel. Doesn't feel notchy, so oh yeah, I'm sure if I was to compare it to the other side, probably shouldn't be spinning quite that freely. They've usually got a bit of load on them, these complete hub sealed kit bearing things. Right, anyway, now's about a good time whenever you're changing a part on a car. This is mostly common sense, but I'll throw everything in there as I do on KevSpec videos. I know it's probably been done before by more professional people that know a lot more about cars than me, but once again, this is how I'm doing it. So anyway, at this stage, especially when you're about to render the vehicle undrivable, once this is off, you know, and the part's wrong, the car's undrivable, you've got to put it all back together if you haven't got a second car or waiting to go and get a part. So with something like this, always check the part before you fit it, because you're about to, you know, render your car undrivable. So I'm pretty confident that that's an FG front wheel bearing. Pretty basic. 3 bolts at the back, sensor at the back, yada yada. Alright, let's do this. So like I said, first thing after the caliper is a little sensor at the back. Okay, so there's your ABS sensor there with the Torx bit. So undo that and the ABS sensor gently pry it back, or you know, wiggle it back. And you can see there's a bolt at the top there. There's 3 bolts. I don't think you can see them all, but yeah, there's 3 bolts. There's one at the top, one at the side, and another one at the bottom here, if we can see that. So undo those 3 main bolts and the wheel bearing comes out. You want to be careful with these 2 guys. They can be quite tight the first time if they've never been undone. Once again, Ford and their lovely Loctite. I don't know if you can see. You can see, like I said, I wire brushed most of it off. I don't know if you can see the yellow Loctite in the brake caliper bolts. And same with this little Torx bit fella. See the red Loctite on it? I don't know if you can see that clearly, but you just got to be really careful. Ford love their Loctite. Now from memory, these are a bit of a pain. You've got to do, well, I think I did one bolt from one side. I had to turn the wheel and do the others. Bring me borer. Jeez, I need these up tight. Suppose you don't want the wheel coming off, do you? And I think these guys are Loctited in too, from memory. One. Okay, that's two. Pretty sure I've got to swing the hub the other way to get this one. Okay, we should be able to get this front one now. Right. And now, hopefully we can just zap them out because I've cracked them all. There you have it. Pretty basic, guys. You know, it's nothing that a home mechanic or anyone with some basic competent skills could do. Alright, so the devil is in the detail with cars, with a lot of things. Look at that. It's just sweat and grease out already. So I'm a big lover in confirming that I'm replacing the right thing. Obviously, sometimes when you get it wrong on cars, it can be thousands of dollars wrong. This is a $200 part, whatever. But you can see this thing's been venting grease out, like already. 6 months old, probably, I don't know, 2,000 Ks or something, 3,000 Ks. And you can see the back here, it's been venting grease out. You can see all the dirt sticking to it. See wet grease there. So, she's cactus. Now you got to clean up all your surfaces when you're doing stuff like this. Really important. These are all, high quality machine surfaces, so they must be. Now I'm just going to get a little wire brush for that. So 1 second. All right. So the plot thickens, guys. It's always good just to have all this information so you can know for next time, and if you see these things then you know what you're looking for, or if you're trying to help a friend and you see similar things. So
As you can see here, you know, it's a little dirty. That's all dry. So that's just all old brake dusty sort of stuff, right? Doesn't really look like anything's been wet there. You know, tiny bit of, you can see a tiny bit of what looks to be a little bit of grease sweating out of there. 140,000k ball joint, it's allowed to. But then I look on the rear of the rotor. So this is the back side of my disc rotor, and this thing's been spraying grease onto my brakes. So I don't know if you can see that. See this crap here? That's all fresh grease, and it's to the point you can see it's actually got into the rotor. See this muck in my holes? So we better give that rotor and pad, especially the inner brake pad, a really good clean with brake clean. So this is why car maintenance is so important, guys. You know, a little bit of a movement on a wheel bearing, some will say who cares, you know, let it go to a next service, but especially not a car that you're going to drive hard, you know. Obviously not lately, but I do drive this through the mountains with the guys. And you don't want grease on your brakes, and you don't want movement in your wheels, simple as that. So, you know, a little bit of maintenance, you know, I wouldn't have picked that up unless I was doing my routine checks with the wheels on yesterday. You know, funny, it's been at 2 workshops since those wheel bearings have been on, and no one's picked it up. So it just shows that you've really got to be thorough with these cars. Anything can happen at any time. So I'll just start cleaning this up. A bit of a wire brush and brake clean. You don't really need to give the hub too much. Just a little bit of how you do it. Just this surface here, you know, where the wheel bearing's going to mate to. Want to make sure it's clean, free of rust and crap. And that's probably good enough, really. Alright, pretty happy with that. Bit of a wipe. And that's pretty much ready for installation. We'll clean this brake pad. Make sure there's crap in that brake pad, and there it is. You see that brake pad, even in the groove of the brake pad's picked up some of that muck and grease, so the bloody new brake pads too. It's made a real mess now I'm looking at it. Grease has got in everywhere and just covered. And obviously brake dust and grease is a pretty sticky, icky combination. That's a lot better. Cleaned out the gunk in the groove of the brake pad, and I've given it a good wipe. You can give the pad a little bit of a wire brush for some fresh sort of surface. Just going to poke these holes in the rotor, clean out this muck. It's only the inner of the rotor that's got this muck from the grease in it. Okay, so you can't really muck this up, guys. Sensor at the top, it'll only go one way. You can see that doesn't work, that works, and that doesn't work, so it can only go one way. And just repeat the process once again, always starting your bolts by hand, especially anything that's got Loctite on it. Never assume anything in mechanics. One of the things I learnt when I was very young, just because you've done it before, just because the bolt came out good, doesn't mean it'll go in good. Yeah, I know, that bolt came out of the same hole, but that's mechanics. You've just got to be ultra cautious and just start things by hand always. You know, I'm a big hater of having to do things twice myself. Careful not to mix up your caliper bolts with your hub bolts, by the way. Alright, zap them up. I don't know about you guys, even a new rattle gun, there's some things that I always like checking with a bar. They don't have to be super VFT, but FT, at least FT. For you that don't know the Bogan Torx settings, T is tight, VT is very tight, and I'm sure you know what VFT is. So we're just going to go VT on this guy. And this is a pretty big bar, guys, so you don't have to swing off it, just nice and tight. Chuck the sensor back in. Our little Torx bit. Once again, just nip it up. It's only, you know, holding a sensor in. There's no load on it. There's no set depth, and it is a plastic sensor going into a plastic housing. So just be cautious. Just nip it up. Should be good. Okay, we'll turn the hub a little bit, check that last bolt and put the caliper back on. Hello, Josie girl. What you doing, puppy? You're going to ignore me. Fine. No, you want to be doing it up, don't you, Kebby? Alright, they're nice and tight. We can put the caliper back on after we put the rotor on. So just making sure that this inside surface is reasonably clean, guys. Bit of sandpaper, quick wire brush. This surface mates to the hub. You don't have to go crazy on it. Just make sure it hasn't got any muck on it or rust build up on the hub. And that'll do me. Okay. Now sometimes this guy will want to flop around on you. Just bang a wheel nut on. Just to save yourself heartache. Why do it the hard way? You know what I mean? Because these can be heavy, these Brembos, and starting the bolts can be a bit of a pain, so that rotor won't go anywhere and flop around while we're trying to slide it on. Okay, just triple checking that we're good. That moves. So, yeah, no movement in there now. And it just feels better. I can't explain it. The other one didn't feel notchy, but it just didn't feel like this. It just felt like there was less grease in it. And now that makes sense, if that makes any sense. Okay. One Akalalapa. Now I start the bottom bolt, I think, first from memory, because the top one with that brake line sort of holder is a pain in the butt. Much like getting these pads on. And things have moved a little. Turkey. And again, guys, especially something that's pretty critical to the vehicle's operation, I like to check these by hand just to make sure they're VT, or somewhere between T and VT. Tight. Pop your little ABS and brake line back through its little holder. Alright. And that, guys, is pretty much done. Now we'll always check our work, yeah? Just the basics, you know, have we done the bolts up, is everything in? So I know I've done the caliper bolts. I know I've done the hub bolts, I've checked them by hand. And everything's sort of spinning freely. It looks like it's working good. It's amazing the little things sometimes, you know. We're not always working in a perfect environment. Phone might ring, you get distracted. You're having a bad day and your mind's not on the job, whatever it may be. I have saved myself many a time from little Kev spec mistakes by just double checking your work. You know, is this tight, is this tight, is this tight? Does that work? Does that spin? Is there any movement there? If I put that on backwards, so on and so forth. And we all do it. We all put things on backwards. We all don't read the instructions. We all just think we know what we're doing, especially me. I've seen brake pads put in backwards, like upside down, springs put in upside down, just because I didn't look at the old spring. Like, it's that simple. Okay, pretty much trying to put the wheel on, I suppose. Okay, so wheel's all back on, just nip her up. Jazz, get out of there. And have we fixed the problem? Always check everything's spinning freely, looking good. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, that's rock solid now. So that was definitely wheel bearing, 100%. There is nothing. Typically, I didn't show you before either. Another good way to check wheel bearings, give them a bang on the top of the wheel, and you'll feel it like rattle. When you've been doing this a while, you get to know what sounds right and what doesn't sound right. But you'll get like a twang, and you can sort of tell something's loose in the hub. But that's a winner chicken dinner, as Kevy would say. And time for a road test with these new wheels on. So let's get this puppy down and see if we've fixed the problem. Well, I know I've fixed the problem, but let's road test to confirm.
Well, there's my quick tutorial on how to change a front FG wheel bearing. I hope that was helpful and informative. If you did like the video, please give it a like at the end. If you could subscribe to my channel and check out the content, that'd be great too. Stay safe. Hope you're all well. Next video coming up is going to be another tutorial on how to change brake fluid. So stay tuned to that one. I'm doing a full Martini brake flush on my FG Falcon, and that'll be the next one coming up. Like I said, I've got the wheel giveaway coming up in a couple of weeks, and the sticker merch will be coming online shortly. So all the best, stay safe, and love yous. You. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a wheel... I cannot spit that word out, my God. There's a blooper. Hey guys, I've got a wheel bearing tutorial for you today. God. I'll start again. Hey guys, today I've got a wheel bearing tutorial for you. So yes, I'm having more wheel bearing issues on my FG Falcon. It's not rear this time, it's a front wheel bearing that's failed. These are only like 6 months old. And I can't remember what I was going to say next, damn it.